Good morning and welcome back to the One Celtic Fans View this morning. We did play a game last night and it was a friendly, but let's put things into perspective. It was the first game back after pre-season. We are going to listen to what the manager said and how he's had a dig I think he's had a dig at Celtic about last summer's signing policy. We'll listen to that at the end of this video. Make sure that you hit the thumbs up. But let's put things into perspective first of all. Let's look at the team for the very first game of last pre-season last year. We had Hart in goals. We had Siegrist that came on in 46 minutes. We had Awata started the game. McPherson came on in 76 minutes. Starfelt started the game. Scales came on in 76 minutes. Kobayashi started the game. Welsh came on in 60 minutes. Taylor started the game. Bernabe came on in 76 minutes. McGregor started the game. Young Daniel Kelly, where was he last night? He came on in 76 minutes. Rio Tati started the game. Turnbull came on in 76 minutes. Matt O'Reilly started the game. O came on in 76 minutes. Haksabanovic started the game. Young Ben Summers came on in 76. Lila Bada started. James Forrest came on in 76 minutes. And Dyson Maida, who scored 3 goals that day. He started the game with Kyogo coming on in 76 minutes. On the bench that day was Bain, Scales, Bernabe, Lawwell, McPherson, Turnbull, Kelly, Forrest, Summers, Vata, Kyogo, and O. Now, there's a number of those players have left the club since last summer. And some of them left way before this summer. Obviously, the headlines just now is all about young Rocco Vata, who refused to sign a contract at Celtic. Celtic did not sell him. He refused to sign a contract at Celtic and he moved and he thinks he's better than Wales. But we move on. When you look at the likes of Kobayashi, when you look at Bernabe, when you look at Abada and Haksabanovic, they've all left the club. And Turnbull, who also scored that day, they have also left the club. So what the manager does the first game of pre-season is he looks at the whole squad that he has and the ones that are back early. Let's listen to Brendan Rodgers first of all to see what he has to say about the game last night.
Exactly what we needed. Obviously, Air just a couple of weeks ahead of us in terms of the fitness and the seniority of the team, but that was really good for us tonight. Really enjoyed it. First and foremost, like I said before the game, it's about getting the football fitness and getting that up to
that's all it's
up to
about.
speed. And then 2, playing against a Scots team that I thought played very well also, and it was a really, really good test for us. So yeah, really happy with the exercise and a brilliant night to open up a stand, 9,000 people here. And for our young players, it's probably as many as some of them will have played in front of. So a chance to see their personality and what they bring to the game.
That is it. That's all it is about the first game of pre-season. It is to see how these young players adapt and how they cope with the bigger occasions, because a lot of them have never played in front of a lot of fans like that, if a lot of fans at all. But what it does do is it allows the manager to see the mentality, and he is right about that. Let's listen to what Scott Brown had to say, because obviously it's his second stint, his second role as manager, and after being relinquished of his duties down in England. Let's see what he had to say about the game.
Definitely, it was a good workout for the lads, and we tried to get as many 90 minutes as we possibly could. But knowing that Celtic had a bit of possession, we had to work a little bit harder. We made a few subs just to freshen it up as well. But no, full credit to the boys, and they've been working extremely hard over off season and in pre-season as well. And that's what the effort you have to put in every match now. So they've set the standards, and now they hopefully just keep pushing from there.
It was interesting because you've seen Scott. If you've never watched the game last night, I mean, you've seen Scott on the touchline sometimes going absolutely mental at his players, and giving them praise when they duly deserved it. And you can see, I mean, he's going to turn out to be a fantastic coach. Excuse me. And I think that as time progresses, hopefully Brendan Rodgers will loan him some players this summer. Now, Stephen Welsh was the captain for the evening. Let's see what Welshie had to say.
United, it was a 1-1 draw. You got the first 45 minutes. What did you make of it? And I imagine it's just good to be back.
Aye, exactly. I think the first game back pre-season, it's always going to be difficult. We come up against a well-organised team who've already played a couple of games, and for us, it's all about getting minutes in the legs. Boys worked hard, and as I think the gaffer said for the young boys coming in, it's all about personality. And I know exactly what it feels like coming in and playing the first team. for the first time, even though it's pre-season, there's still a bit of pressure on you. So
Oh,
I thought
definitely.
they handled it well, and it's hopefully the first of many the pre-season, and we've got another game on Wednesday. So it's just about coming in tomorrow, working hard again, and getting back on the pitch on Wednesday.
How is this pre-season for the Celtic players, Stephen? Is it as intense as you might imagine? Is the training almost ridiculously intense to the point that it gets you so far down the road in terms of that long season that's so needed?
That's us in a week into the pre-season now. So for us, it's all about the football fitness. It's very intense, as you can imagine. It's all about the first 2 or 3 weeks, probably before we go out to the States. It's about getting just as fit as we can, and lasting 60, 70 minutes, and then by the time we're back from America, we'll be ready to go. And that's what it's all about for us. We still get a couple more boys to come in to come back from international duty and that. So the squad's looking good fitness wise so far.
Interesting. He says the squad's looking good fitness wise so far, and
didn't expect it. Gaffer just gave it a mention, and it's up to him to do that. So no, I was happy enough, but I think in general it was about getting the 45 minutes in the legs, and kind of getting our touch back again. I thought, as you can see, we're a wee bit sloppy the first 15-20 minutes, but I think the second half, we settled down a wee bit as well. So as I said, it was a great honour, and we'll hopefully continue and get fit and play well.
Get fit, play well. Made captain for the first 45 minutes of the first game of pre-season. Don't look too much into it. So he was talking about the players that are due to come back. There's big news coming out of the Copa America last night. Alistair Johnson will take on Lionel Messi for the second time in a couple of weeks when Canada face Argentina in the Copa America semi-finals. I did watch the Sky game last night. The Spain game last night, and that was a nervy ending, and Spain got it over the line just in extra time, which was fantastic. But Alistair Johnson, from a Celtic perspective, Alistair Johnson takes on Argentina in the semi-final of the Copa America. Semi-final, one game away from the final. You've got to. Alistair Johnson's going to do it, isn't he? I've got a funny feeling that Alistair Johnson in Canada could win the Copa America. That would be fantastic for Alistair Johnston. It would be absolutely fantastic for Alistair Johnston. Now, getting on to Brendan Rodgers again. He was asked a couple of other questions last night, as you would expect, and one of them were about transfers and transfer expectations. And did he have a little dig at the board and at the Celtic recruitment of last summer? He was asked about Adam Ida.
Well, listen, as soon as any players come in, you guys will be the first to know about it. Until then, we're just a lot of work going on behind the scenes. Players target it, clear over the obviously last numbers of months. So just hopefully can get those done. But lots of time. But of course, we would want to get them in sooner rather than later. But it's always a two-way thing. So hopefully we can get them done in the coming weeks.
Is the hope to get signings in before America? Would that be we've got 2 weeks there?
Yeah, well, that's the plan. I think every manager would like them in the first day, but what's most important, the players that we want are targeted. We know what we want to bring in to improve the squad, and I'm sure over the coming weeks we'll conclude the deals and like I said, get us stronger for next season.
So Celtic do go to America in a week's time, so it could be an interesting week at Celtic. Will we get a couple of players in before we head to America?
It's a question of patience, Brendan, because sometimes, as you say, it's a two-way street, and other clubs might have to just don't bow to your pressure.
Yeah, if you didn't hear that, he was asked about it's a two-way street. It's all about pressure. It's all about getting bodies in, and it's all about timing. Listen to what the manager had to say.
Yeah, absolutely. Listen, we could have had 9 players in.
We could have had 9 players in, the boss says, smiling. We could have had 9 players in. A direct dig at the signing policy of last summer, is that, Brendan?
By now, if we wanted, but it's all about the right players that we want to. Absolutely. Listen, we could have had 9 players in. By now, if we wanted, but it's all about players in. By now, we could have had 9 players in. We could have had 9 players in. We could have had 9 players in. by now.
Oh,
But
that is
it's all about
absolutely
the
brilliant.
right players that we want to improve the squad. There's no point in us doing anything other than that. And sometimes that takes a little bit of patience. And in the world nowadays where everything's immediate, everyone thinks you can do it straight away, but it's not always the case. There's always a collaboration between ourselves and another club to get the players that we want. But I'm very hopeful that come the end of the window, we'll have a really strong squad and be ready and prepared for the exciting season.
That's not what Celtic fans want to hear. Come the end of obviously come the end of the window, you want to have the strongest squad possible, but we all know that we want to get the deals done pretty damn fast, and hopefully it's sounding positive. It is sounding positive that Adam Ida will be signed this week before we go to America.
It became obvious towards the end of Adam's time at the club last year that there was a real desire on his part to come back if a deal could be made possible. Given that Norwich are under a new manager since then, has that changed anything? Or, is there still a desire there on his part, as far as you're aware, to come back?
Well, listen, Adam's a Norwich player, so I'm not in the mood to be talking about other players at other clubs. But he's a player that came in here, did exceptionally well, and we'll see what happens.
What's O's situation at the moment? He obviously came on tonight. There's been talk about him possibly.
Yeah. There's some interest in O. So again, we'll assess that as a club and then just manage that. But you see from tonight, his attitude is great. He had a good 45 minutes. Worked well, worked hard, and then let's see what the coming days brings on that one.
Interesting. They say that there is interest in O. I thought O as a player last night. I know it's the first game of the pre-season, but it was here United, and you're thinking, if he's going to be if he's trying to be a main striker, he's got to do a little bit better, I thought. But Brendan Rodgers has confirmed there has been a little bit of interest in O, and the club will talk about that over the coming days. You can guarantee as soon as Adam Ida walks through the door, O will be walking out the other way.
Enjoyed going up against Scott Brown for the first time.
Yeah, but it was great to see him. I've seen him over the summer, and I'm really, really happy for him. I think he's at a really, really good club here. I think sometimes those first steps in management went to Fleetwood, get away from Scotland, and get down there and see a bit of the English leagues. But he's come back to here to a very, very good club. The ownership and everyone's very, very much behind him. And I really like seeing his team. Obviously, it's very early in pre-season, but how they're trying to work and how they're trying to play. And I've got every confidence he'll go on and be an outstanding manager. So he's a good guy, was a top player, and I'm pretty sure he'll go on and become that as a manager.
And actually, goalkeeper, is that something that's a real priority this summer? Is that someone you've identified? Do you have a plan in place for that? Because it seems to be perhaps the most pressing issue.
Yeah, it's certainly one of the areas that we needed to improve, and we've known that since Joe said that he was leaving. So that again, a bit of time, but we aim to have that hopefully done by the beginning of the season for sure.
You want to?
But come on, Brendan, what is going on here? We've known since, you've just said it, you've known since you knew Joe was going to retire. Celtic were looking at a goalkeeper last summer, with Joe only having the 1 year left on his contract. Pretty much everyone knew back then that we were going to need a new goalkeeper. We've been crying out for a new goalkeeper. Joe played his heart out for the last half of the season. He went out in style. Let's not try to do anything against the memory of Joe Hart, because he was an absolutely fantastic player, but we have to have moved on quicker. And for Brendan Rodgers to then turn around and say, yeah, we'll hope to get that done by the conclusion of pre-season is absolutely scandalous. And for me, it says that they must be working on a top-end goalkeeper that is playing in the Euros or Copa America. It has to be the only possibility, and it has to be the only thing that is holding things up at this stage, surely.
Similar sort of profile to what you had with Joe, very experienced, sort of established international sort of player. Is that the kind of thing you'd like to do? Against a few names have been kind of chucked around, you would seem to fit that bill.
Well, there's loads of names flying about, so no, just a good one would be nice.
Casper Schmeichel.
Hey?
Casper?
No.
Casper's a very, very good one. I know Casper really well, but there's lots of names, and clearly I'm not going to tell you who those names are.
There's lots of names getting thrown about, lots of goalkeepers, and I would just like a good one. You've got to love Brendan Rodgers. You absolutely have to love the Celtic manager. He's put a smile on my face this morning, and hopefully he's put a smile on your face. And on that note, have an absolutely fantastic day, Celtic fans all around the world.